This, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly why the Founding Fathers put the Second Amendment into our Constitution. It is a natural born right that every human being, no matter where you live, have the ability to defend him or herself. Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I was actually going to take today off, and then I came across this article here from a tweet that was put out by Mr. Benny Johnson. And I guess he's a Twitter and he's got a YouTube channel as well. New Mexico governor suspends First and Second Amendment. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Ladies and gentlemen, we are headed toward a time where we are going to have all of these things come and culminate at once. And we have to be prepared for this. I haven't even read this article. It's just the title that's really got me going. So please let me know, is this real? If you live in New Mexico, is this real? And what are law enforcement officers who swore to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America, what are they doing? Are they abiding by this? But then again, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself because I just saw this headline. I'm like, I have to go do a video about this right now, and we'll figure it out together during this video. Because in all honesty, I haven't even read past the title and the name of the person who tweeted this out, Mr. Benny Johnson. So New Mexico governor suspends First Amendment and Second Amendment. You got to be kidding me. How in the world can you do that? Please let me know if this is real. Send me an email or something. And here, Mr. Benny Johnson says, the governor of New Mexico has just declared the First and Second Amendment does not exist. And it's in quotes, too, due to an emergency. So, you see, they figured out that during an emergency, and if enough people were scared, that they can get away with pretty much anything they wanted to in the last 2.5, 3 years. That's what that was, ladies and gentlemen. In addition to a lot of people not being here anymore. Right. So under this legal authority, all of our rights are essentially eliminated. And it says, watch the most evil, tyrannical 60 seconds you've ever seen or heard from me. And I haven't played this yet, but let's go ahead and play it. What the heck?
But your point is valid.
You took an oath to the Constitution. Isn't it unconstitutional to say you cannot exercise your carry license?
With one exception, and that is if there's an emergency, and I've declared an emergency for a temporary amount of time, I can invoke additional powers. No constitutional right in...
If there is an emergency, any kind of emergency, I can invoke any power I like and take away any of your rights, ladies and gentlemen. This, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly why the Founding Fathers put the Second Amendment into our Constitution. It is a natural born right that every human being, no matter where you live, have the ability to defend him or herself, him or her family, their property, but especially themselves. And the reason that the Founding Fathers put this amendment in there to ensure that the government does not encroach on our ability to defend ourselves is because that is exactly what they were going through at that time. They had a power that was telling them, you have to hand over your firearms and you will not have the ability to defend yourselves. Therefore, putting all of your faith in the government, which is being tyrannical toward you right now. That is why the Founding Fathers placed the Second Amendment into the Constitution of the United States of America. And that, ladies and gentlemen, in my humble opinion, is what has kept us the freest nation in the world for so long. Well, this tyrant right here, which I didn't even know this person existed until this video, this tyrant right here thinks that she has the right by fiat, by saying, I say so, therefore it is. When in fact, I guarantee you, I will bet you a silver dollar that her security guards are still armed because she's more important than you are. Because her rights are sovereign, where yours are not. I apologize. Let's finish listening to what this tyrant has to say. But before we finish listening to that, there's something else that I have to say. I just call this person a tyrant, and that's my opinion because of the action she's taking. What's next, ladies and gentlemen? First, she's saying the Second Amendment does not apply because I said so, and the First Amendment either. What are they going to do now? Start arresting people that call them tyrants? Is that next, ladies and gentlemen? Think about this. This is a test case, and I hope that the people of New Mexico rise up. Our New Mexico brothers and sisters. I have no idea what New Mexico goes to, right or left or center. I have no idea. But ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter what your ideology is. The freedom and the right to protect yourself, to protect your body, your family, is God-given. It is given to you the day that you came out of that womb.
My view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute. There are restrictions on free speech. There are restrictions on my freedoms. In this emergency, this 11-year-old and all these parents who have lost all these children, they deserve my attention to have the debate about whether or not in an emergency we can create a safer environment.
I have to cut in again. I guess there must have been some kind of a thing going on in that state where some people lost their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, according to the CDC, all right, this is a study that was issued by Obama, by President Obama back then. He said, CDC, can you look into gun violence? And the CDC came out and said, I will leave the link to this as well. CDC gun violence studies findings are not what President Obama wanted. The White House asked the Centers for Disease Control to research the causes and prevention of gun violence. And they say here, we're pretty sure that the CDC found that what the CDC found, wasn't what the White House was asking to look for. And that's why it wasn't reported on the mainstream media, ladies and gentlemen. And here is just a couple of short excerpts. I will leave the link for this so you can take a look at it for yourself. The study, which was farmed out by the CDC to the Institute of Medicine and National Research Council, also revealed that while there were about 300,000 violent crimes involving firearms in 2008, the estimated number of defensive uses of guns range from about 500,000 to more than 3 million per year. So the uses for defensive purposes outweigh the uses for malicious purposes. Here, does anyone recall this study getting extensive media coverage or the administration plugging its key findings? Of course not, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't support their anti-Second Amendment, anti-gun ideology. It is therefore ignored as if it never happened. Again, how many of you outside of this channel, because I reported on this study a few years back, knew that this study was actually done back in 2013? And they never reported on it because the findings were not what they wanted them to be. And brothers and sisters of New Mexico, this is the test. This is the test that you have to pass now. I'm going to be very curious as to see where this goes. I give you my word, I will not interrupt again.
Because what about their constitutional rights? I took an oath to uphold those too. And if we ignore this growing problem without being bold, I've said to every other New Mexican, your rights are subrogated to theirs. And they are not, in my view.
Wait a minute. You're talking about crimes. There are already laws against the crimes, so how are their rights?
But again, if I'm unsafe, who's standing up for that right? If this climate is so out of control, somebody should do something.
I lied. Being safe is not a right. It is not the job of the government, federal, state, or otherwise, to tell you that they're going to take care of your safety. It's not their job, and it is not a right given to you. That is why the Second Amendment is so important, because giving you safety is not the job of the federal government, and safety is not a right, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm doing as much as I know to do.
Madam Governor,
Yep.
do you really think that criminals are going to hear this message and not carry a gun in Albuquerque on the streets for 30 days?
No. But here's what I do think. It's a pretty resounding message.
That's it. That's the rest of the video. I'm going to go ahead and leave the link to this so that you can follow this if you like. And go ahead and give this gentleman a follow if you're on Twitter. All right, Mr. Benny Johnson. But did you hear the question that the gentleman asked her? He said, Mrs. Governor, whatever her name is. I don't even want to repeat her name, ladies and gentlemen. But whatever her name is, he said, do you think that criminals are going to abide by this this law or edict or whatever it is that you're passing for the next 30 days? And she says no. She already knows that the criminals are not going to abide. Did you hear about that? I forgot what the name of that lady was who was against cops and wanted to defund cops. And here she gets beat up, gets her car jacked, and gets her leg broken in front of her family in the same city that she said, we want to defund the police. Now this lady here is saying, I know that criminals are not going to abide by my tyrannical rule, but I'm going to make sure that the average citizen who is a law-abiding citizen has to turn in their guns right now because I said so. Because this is a crisis. This is an emergency. How many people protect themselves? How many women protect themselves from being assaulted in a very bad way every year because they were carrying a firearm? As opposed to how many people in the United States of America pass away. Of course, I have to say this because people always get triggered. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, life is precious. Life is very precious. But the reason that we in this country have the life that we have, even though it's been going downhill little by little over the decades because of the programming, because of the lies, because of politicians selling us out, even though it's been going down, we're still the freest nation in the world. And the reason we've stayed free is because of the rights that they put into that Bill of Rights. So that the government can protect those rights. And now they're effectively trying to take them away. But the question is why? And again, ask yourself, did she get rid of her security? No, I'm certain that she didn't, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have to see what happens. I'll be very interested. Again, if this is all a joke, then the joke's on me. And at least you know that I am passionate about the first and second and third and fourth, all of the amendments, ladies and gentlemen. Even though I think they've passed amendments that really don't make sense because the first 10 cover them anyways, but that's another video. And this gentleman right here, you see this guy right here, this law enforcement officer, he should be ashamed of himself. In my opinion, he should be ashamed of himself. He should be holding his own press conference right now saying how wrong this is that she's doing. He took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America, just like she did. But he is a law enforcement officer. And he should be saying, no, I'm going to arrest you, ma'am. Because what you're doing is going against the very Constitution that you swore to uphold. Let's see, this is just a quick summary. I'll finish reading this off and then I'll go ahead and let it be. All right, ladies and gentlemen. New Mexico Governor Michelle, I'm not even going to say her name, on Friday issued an emergency order suspending the right to carry firearms in public across Albuquerque and the surrounding county for at least 30 days in response to a spate of violence. The Democratic governor said she expects legal challenges but was compelled to act because of recent shootings, including the death of an 11-year-old boy outside a minor league baseball stadium this week. Every death is terrible. There's no reason why children should be going through this. There's no reason for it. But ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the outcome of other nations where their citizenry have foregone their right to protect themselves, and look at what's happened. Every single, it's just like this video. I've seen this video, but I'm not going to play it here because I don't know if I'll get a strike or whatever. It's just like this video of this guy right here. He was saying, I think this is with Piers Morgan, I think it was, but he was saying Mao Zedong took the firearms, right? The guy with the funny mustache took the firearms. All of these people, before they committed the atrocities that they committed, took the firearms first. They have to have the firearms. If not, they don't have the power. You see, they have the power right now to impoverish us through their fake monetary system. But if they have the power to stop our speech and to take the firearms, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is it. Let history teach you what's happened to citizens who have given up their right to protect themselves. Let history teach you that. Go study it. Don't listen to me. Don't take my word for it. Go look up the word democide. Go to the Hawaii, I believe it's Hawaii University site. Go to their site and take a look at the democide that's occurred over the last 120 years. You're looking at over 300 million plus human beings that have lost their lives to democide. And just to let you know what democide is when a government causes the death of its own people. That is what democide is. I have to stop now because I'll probably keep ranting on forever. I hope you get something out of this. I'm going to leave the link to this so that you can go take a look at this for yourself and go follow this gentleman here on previously known as Twitter X. And have a good weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Just keep alert. And I don't even know if this video will be out before then, but if it's out after, I also put out a video today doing a review on a solar generator. Go check it out. Pretty decent solar generator for the price, I have to say. Other than that, have a great weekend. God bless every one of you. I was going to put out like a lengthier news video today, but maybe I'll save it for tomorrow because it is way more important.